There was a woman who poured a kettle of boiling water over her own hand. The burn was real. The pain was real. By every account of what had just happened, she was going to spend that night in a hospital. Instead, she lay down on her couch, and she did something that to anyone watching would have looked like madness. She closed her eyes, and she went back to the moment before the burn. She rebuilt the scene in her imagination, the kettle, the water, except this time she poured the water over the tea. She brewed it, she drank it, calm, unhurt, a quiet evening. The pain kept dragging her back to the real hand, the burned hand, and she kept returning to the corrected scene, pouring the tea, drinking it, again and again, until, somewhere in that repetition, she fell asleep. When she woke, hours later, there was no burn, no blister, no mark. She wrote to me afterward, and I will never forget the line. She said, "You would have thought I should go right to the hospital, but now there is not even a sign of it." Tonight I am going to teach you what she did. It is the most powerful tool I ever gave anyone, and almost no one uses it correctly. It is called revision, and to understand why it works, you first have to understand something that sounds at first like the strangest thing I will ever ask you to believe. You have to learn how to die. Let me tell you what I do not mean. I do not mean the death the world is afraid of. I do not mean the end of your body. William Blake, the poet, the man who saw more clearly than almost anyone who has ever lived, wrote a line that stopped me the first time I read it. He said, "The best thing in life is death, but that people take such a long time dying, so long that their neighbors never see them rise from the grave." He was not being morbid, he was being precise. Because here is what Blake understood. You are not one fixed thing. You are not stuck as the person you were this morning. You are always standing in a state of poverty or a state of wealth, a state of sickness or a state of health, a state of being passed over or a state of being chosen. And these states are like cities. You can live in one, and you can leave it for another. But here is the part almost no one accepts. To enter the new city, you have to leave the old one. To live in the new state, the old self, the one who belonged to the old state, has to die. That is the death Blake meant. That is the death I am asking you to learn. Most people never do it. Most people only age. They get older inside the same state they were always in, the same complaints, the same lack, the same story about why their life is the way it is. You have a friend like this. You have not seen him in 10 years, and he tells you the exact same things he told you a decade ago. Nothing has moved. And the strange thing is, it comforts him, because staying the same feels safe. Change is the frightening thing. Change means something in you has to die. And so people cling to the state they are in, suffering the entire time, because at least the suffering is familiar. Now, listen closely, because this is where it becomes practical. If you remain in one state, you must suffer the consequences of not being in the other. Read that again. If I stay in the state of poverty, I am not being punished by some outside force. I am simply experiencing the natural consequence of standing in poverty instead of standing in wealth. The state I occupy produces the life I live, always, without exception. So the question was never, how do I get the thing I want? The question is, how do I leave the state I am in and move into the state where the thing I want is simply already true? And the answer, the whole answer, is that you have to die to the old one. I know what is rising in you right now. You are thinking, that sounds poetic, but what does it actually mean to die to a state? How does a person do that? I'm going to tell you exactly, and then I'm going to take you back to the woman with the burned hand, because she did it perfectly, under the worst possible conditions, and her hand healed. To die to a state means this: you stop letting your senses have the final word. Right now, your senses are reporting on the old state, the bank balance, the empty chair, the diagnosis, the thing that is wrong. And as long as you keep agreeing with that report, keep confirming it, keep building your inner world around it, you remain exactly where you are. The senses keep you faithful to the state you want to leave. Dying to the state is the moment you stop agreeing. It is the moment you turn away from what is obviously, undeniably real, the burned hand, the unpaid bill, and you yield completely to a scene that exists only in your imagination, a scene in which the thing is already done, already whole, already yours. Blake called this kind of yielding madness, because from the outside, that is exactly what it looks like. It looks insane to feel wealthy when the account is empty. It looks insane to feel whole when the hand is burned. And that is precisely why most people cannot do it. They will not risk looking mad, even inside their own minds. They hold something back. They keep one eye on the real world, one foot in the old state, a last card to play in case the imagination doesn't work. And because they held back, it doesn't work. You cannot half die. You cannot revise a scene while still believing the old scene is the true one. The woman with the burned hand did not keep checking whether it still hurt. She poured the tea. She drank it. She gave herself completely to the corrected version, so completely that she fell asleep inside it. She died to the burn, and the burn had nowhere left to live. So here is the tool. This is revision, and you can use it tonight on anything in your life you want to change, including things that have already happened. First, take the scene you want to change. It can be something from today that went wrong, a conversation, a piece of bad news, a moment that confirmed the state you are trying to leave. Or it can be the ongoing fact of your life you most want different. Second, rebuild it. In your imagination, replay the scene the way you wish it had gone, not vaguely, specifically. The woman did not think, "I wish I hadn't been burned." She constructed the entire alternate scene, the water going where it should have gone, into the tea, the calm evening that followed. You build the version where it went right. Third, and this is where the dying happens, you live inside the corrected scene until it feels more real than the one your senses are reporting. You return to it the moment your mind drags you back to the real version. The bill, the burn, the disappointment pulls at you, and you turn, quietly, back to the scene where it is already resolved, again and again, without arguing with the old version, just returning, until the new scene is the one you are standing in. And the best time to do this, the most powerful time, is as you fall asleep, because in that state, just before sleep, the senses finally let go of you. The old world loosens its grip, and whatever scene you are living in as you cross into sleep is the scene you are impressing into the deepest part of you. The woman fell asleep inside the corrected version. That was not an accident. That was the mechanism working exactly as it should. The past is not as fixed as you have been told. You have believed your whole life that what happened, happened, that it is done, sealed, unchangeable. But the thing that gives a past event its power over you is not the event. It is the version of it you keep alive inside you. Keep replaying the burn, and the burn stays real. Replay the tea, faithfully, completely, until you fall asleep inside it, and you would be astonished what no longer has the power to mark you. You are not the person who got burned, not unless you insist on remaining him. So tonight, find the scene, the one you have been carrying, replaying, confirming, and revise it. Pour the water over the tea. Live in the version where it went right. Return to it every time the old world pulls you back, quietly, without drama, the way you would return home. And then fall asleep there. Die to the one who suffered it, and rise, in the morning, as the one for whom it was always already well.